What's going on, dude? How's it going?
Try to figure out if this. Okay, yeah, it's working.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Not much.
Nice. Sorry, I'm getting things set up on my side over here.
Yeah.
What kind of bike do you ride?
Versus 300.
Oh,
On the
you
fat
I was
one.
looking at getting a 650 a while back, but I was never able to get the money together for it. And then I found a cheap Ninja 650. It's got the same motor instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, like Jake said, it's kind of a boring motor, but also really fun.
Honestly, it makes enough power to do whatever you needed to do. Like if you're trying to keep up with the big boys, you're not going to be the fastest in the group,
Yeah.
but they're also probably not going to be able to leave you behind either. You know?
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like my
maybe
300. It's not a powerful motor. It's not a powerful motor, but gets the job done.
yeah. I accidentally bought 3 bikes now because I've got that Ninja. I've had that for
Oh
a little over a year,
shit.
and then I was on Craig's cock not too long ago. Craig's cunt, whatever you want to call it, and someone had a KLR for sale, and it was a night that I normally work. I just happened to not be at work, and they called me earlier that day, like, "Hey, can you come into work tonight and make some money?" And I was like, I just didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
so I didn't go in. And then I was on Craigslist, and I found a KLR for $500 that wouldn't start. So,
You now have 2 KLRs.
well, no. That's the KLR that I bought. That wasn't very long ago.
Oh. Wait, how many bikes you got? You got.
And then I have so I bought that, and it didn't run, and it needed some work and this and that, and it still does actually. Now it needs more because I took it riding today and I blew a fucking fork seal on it. But it needed the carburetor to be cleaned. But I looked on fucking Amazon, and they have carburetors for $50 for that bike. Like,
See, what you do is you say, fuck that. And you go out and get yourself a high performance carburetor. Get you a quarter more horsepower.
yeah, well, that's for a KLR. There's not much point to it, honestly. Like maybe a
Yeah.
little bit of a point, I guess. Maybe I don't know. Like
I
I've
don't
been
know.
talking to Jake about like mods to do to give it a little bit extra. I mean, what would it be besides air intake,
Carburetor.
exhaust, and carburetor? Those are the only 3
Yeah.
things you got.
It lets you start digging deeper and doing like cams or high compression pistons.
Or like a big
Big
bore
bore
kit.
or
Yeah,
big bore kit.
I think they make a 30cc plus big bore kit for the KLR. I'm not sure. It's like it makes it like a 680 or something. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh, all that work, and now I've got 30 extra cc's.
I know there's actually a company that makes a high compression big bore kit for the Versus 300. But then you can't run it on they say you can't run it on regular gas, so it's like
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to do like a high compression thing on a KLR though, because it's like a low stress,
yeah.
lower compression motor to begin with. That I don't think like if you started like making it somehow higher compression, you'd probably break something on there that it wasn't,
Yeah.
like you're playing with something that isn't meant to be played with. You know what I mean?
Poking the beast.
Yeah. What's up, lawfully armed? How you doing, man?
Aloha. I'm
That
good.
means that means hello and goodbye. Are you leaving or are you coming? When you come,
No
come hard.
sauce.
Do you have a bike too? I forgot if you have a bike.
I rode a moped once.
Oh, you rode a. You're one of those. That's okay. Have you ever thought about getting a bike?
No.
Well,
I have epilepsy, so I could end badly.
Oh.
yeesh. Yeah. Plus, like, I don't know what you would do about that. I guess.
Die.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, how does driving go then?
I had to go a period of time contained before I could get my driving privileges back. And so now I stay in the right lane and go the speed limit and just fingers crossed I don't kill anybody else.
Oh, Jesus. Kill anybody? What? Did we just learn something? I didn't know that. Holy shit.
Yeah, I've never discussed it on the chats before.
He wasn't on a bike, was he? Jesus. Yeah, man, I'm like going on a longer ride. Fucking, I don't know. It points holes in your gear situation. You know.
Yeah.
Because when you're on a bike for like 4 or 5 hours, like it's different than when you go to the store and back, or you're out for like an hour and then you stop somewhere and you drive an hour, ride an hour back. You know, like you can kind of get away with shit that you couldn't get away with if it's a 5-6 hour ride.
Oh yeah, I did 1,000 kilometers in one day.
Oh
like
shit!
400 of that was off road.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. That was a long day.
I mean, I did nothing like that, honestly. Now you're making me sound like a bitch, but I fucking did do this today. This is the route that I took today. 2.5 hours one way. It was only 70 miles, but basically half of it approximately was through winding, twisting mountain dirt roads with giant boulders and ruts and stuff going out of the middle of the road.
Uphills both ways.
I mean, there's uphills on the way there and there's uphills on the way back. Yeah, so sure.
I'm jealous of that terrain. Like where I live, it's 2 hours of highway before you start getting to any kind of hills.
Yeah, I mean,
unless I go to Detroit, Michigan.
All this is highway right here.
Yeah.
And then from like Sedalia, which is this town, to here is like twisting paved roads, which is kind of fun to ride. And when I had my street bike only, I would just keep going on this road because it keeps twisting through and twisting through and twisting through, and it ends in dirt somewhere, like way back here.
Yeah.
But I could never take a left on this spot on a Rampart Range Road, which is world-renowned off-roading. There's like, if you look at it, there's trails everywhere that aren't the road that are just for dirt bikes. So dirt bikes go there on trailers and park and then go out in the woods and fucking do all the things. Yeah. I didn't do any of that today because, again, I rode my ride out there. So if I like crash my bike, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what happened when I did that 1,000 kilometers. I rode the bike out there, and chain started to go. Like I was like, I don't need to change it. I still got quite a long life in it. And no, it went fast.
I can't remember the. Dang it! I think it's way down here actually.
But it all looks like fun. It's all dirt, gravel roads.
Yeah, the whole thing. Parachute Rock. That was the thing. I was like, whoa, check this out. Because it's like this huge ass fucking rock just sticking out of the middle of the woods.
What state are you in, Texas or no?
No, this is Colorado.
Colorado. That explains everything.
Yeah, but you can totally see this from the dirt road. I kind of pulled over and looked at it for a minute. This is what it looks like from the road. Like, holy fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like some Indians sacrificed some people up there or something. Like, I don't know what they were doing, but like a fucking wizard made his fucking house on top of that thing and cast spells upon the land.
Oh, you said you're
a white guy pissed off the top of it.
Oh, there's the road.
Yeah. But that's what I did today, and then I was on my way back and got back to the parking lot at the entrance to this place and fucking pulled over and took a break for a second and took my helmet off because it was hurting me because my goddamn helmet's too tight and I need a new one.
I know exactly what you mean.
And then I looked at my fork seal. I was like, "Oh, why is my shit all dirty? It looks like rusty there." I'm like, "Oh, it's just pouring fucking oil out. Like it poured fucking oil out. Like it just fucking happened, bro."
Yeah. I keep looking at the cost of stuff. It's like, I should really figure out a way to do this stuff at home.
Where do you live at?
Ontario. Very bottom of Ontario, like right across from Detroit.
How long is the riding season out there, being so far north?
Depends. How big are your balls?
Right. Like that's kind of the thing. I don't really like riding like when it gets below the 50s, and I'm talking American degrees.
Yeah. Let me just go look that up in communist terms.
So if it gets into like 49 is kind of my cutoff, like where I'm like, I don't really want to ride.
Yeah.
You're gonna call me a pussy probably because you're from Canada.
Yeah, no, it's just without all the gear and the heated stuff, it's not fun.
Yeah, and I usually just rock like a fucking winter jacket, like winter riding jacket and winter gloves, you know. And if I can't ride with that, then it's too cold and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, like 10. Yeah, without all like the gear, that's not comfortable to ride.
Right.
Like I learned that the hard way. Like I was like, oh, I'll get a motorcycle. It'd be easy to go longer distances. Bicycle, you're working out, you're staying hot. It's like, man, it's cold.
I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't consider when they're thinking about buying a bike. And they're like, oh, yeah, I could use it. Like I live like 60 miles from work or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the case is. And I got to drive there every day. So I'm driving 120 miles a day. I might as well get a bike because it gets better gas mileage and I can get to work and back. And, you know, it'll save me money. But the thing is, like, okay, maybe in the longest run possible, that's true. But in the short term, you're buying a whole ass fucking motorcycle and insuring it and buying all the gear that you need. Like, how much gas is that? Like, if your concern is cost, like motorcycle's not it, you know?
No.
And
definitely
then,
not where I live. Oh.
And then if you're like, well, you know, I could ride it every day still, and you know, it'll still be cheaper in the long run. Okay, fine. But there's days where it's 100 fucking degrees outside or 105 degrees outside. And it's like so fucking hot that if you stop at a stoplight, you almost fucking die of dehydration because you're sweating so bad. And then there's other days where it's like fine in the morning when you leave. And then when it's time to come home, it's like a hailstorm or some crazy shit's going on. And if you're in a car, it's like, well, you're protected from that and you're kind of separated from it. But when you're on a bike, you are in it. And if you're not wearing the proper gear, it sucks.
Tuesday, it was straight downpouring, but I had to go to work. Okay. I was passing people on the road. Like they were just driving so slow. It's like, I'm passing you on a motorcycle. But it was straight like downpouring, horrible rain. It was just, all right, got to ride. Throw on the raincoat.
Let's look at the chat real quick. Stephen Carroll dropped in his 23-month chat and said, I trip on flat ground. I don't trust myself with a bike. Dude, honestly, like I thought about that when I like before I started riding, like how amazing it was that people could like get from one place to another on two wheels without dying. But then like you get on a bike and it's like riding a bike. It's fun. Yeah. It just works. Real Glass says, check out Kim Knack Pack. Not cheap, but 3-liter water pack and lots of room for tools, spare tire, tube, and other stuff. Dual sporting. That's cool. I'll look at that. What is that? Klim Knack Pack.
Oh, I got the side bags and all that stuff.
Klim Knack Pack. Oh, it's just a backpack. I want to get a what I was looking at was like a big fucking like 55-liter tail bag thing, like locking like hard case.
The top trunk, yeah.
Yeah, because then you can put a helmet and whatever else in there, and then if you're doing like serious off-roading, you just leave it at home or take it off and leave it at the campsite or whatever, you know. But I don't know.
The top case, like the hard top case, sounds like a good like. I have the hard side cases, and like they're not very big, so like they're just as wide as the handlebars. So it's like the handlebars can fit, I can fit. But it's like it's one of those things where it's like the soft side cases are nicer because you gotta push them out of the way.
Well, my Ninja's got a top case on it, and the two bikes that I had before that I don't have anymore, neither one of them had. Like I put like soft bags on one of them so I could carry some stuff, but they never had the ability to lock, and they couldn't carry a helmet. Like there was like certain things that you just couldn't do with them, so they kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And then this one, the one that I have on the Ninja, you can put 2 whole ass helmets inside of it and close it and lock it. And so that's like a game changer. You don't like really consider that until you have one. How nice it is to be able to, first of all, be able to carry shit without carrying it because it's just on the bike. But second of all, being able to lock it up, leave it on the bike, like go inside, go to sleep, go to work, do whatever you have to do, come back, have full confidence that, like, as long as your bike's still there, I guess, that your shit's still there,
Yeah.
So.
And I know, it's like I got the lock and side cases. And it's like somebody really wanted into them. It's like it wouldn't take much.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. If like a crowbar or something, or like a big screwdriver, you can get into them.
Yeah, they're just the factory plastic cases, so it's like they're already popping open anyway.
Yeah, I've got a Gibby top box is what I've got on mine. I think it's the 50 liter or 46 liter. But yeah, I was looking at the 55. It's a square box, so I don't think it can fit 2 helmets because of the way it's shaped. But like by volume, it fits more, and that's fine. I don't need it to necessarily fit 2 helmets. Like 1 helmet is usually enough, extra anyway. Because sometimes, you never know. It might be nice to go pick up a lady friend and bring her with you somewhere. And like, she probably doesn't have her own gear. So you might have to bring gear with you, which means like carrying everything in a backpack like that. And then what do you do when you pick her up? Make her wear the backpack? Or you got a top box and now she's got a backrest. Now she feels more secure. Now she's got all the gear that you need. Oh shit! MSB 9021 for the Fork Seal Fund, $30, man. Jesus, thank you, sir. Honestly, that pays for the fucking fork seals if I do the work myself.
Yeah.
Because for the fork seal oil is like $20 for a big thing of it, and I assume that's enough for multiple fork seal jobs. And then the seals themselves are like $10-$20. But yeah, dude, the oil coming out of that shit was black.
That's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, I don't know the history on this bike necessarily. I know that it at least had 2 previous owners, and that the owner before me was kind of neglectful of taking care of the bike. Like it looks like the guy who had the bike at first really cared about that bike a lot and put like top dollar into all the components and things that you would want, like the crash cages and all the things, that are that you would want to have on the bike or on it already. And then it seems like the second guy bought the bike and then rode it a couple times and put it in his garage. And then the oil, I think the oil needs to be changed too, is the other thing I need to do on it, but that's not a big deal. It's got the correct amount in there at least, so it's not damaging anything.
Yeah. I put off changing my oil for a while, like not a long time, but like long enough, like a couple thousand over.
Damn, Calhoun says, my dad had some ratty bike in the 80s. He said in the summer he just wore a t-shirt and sunglasses with decent shoes. He said he tried not to drive it at night much. He never owned a helmet. They passed a law and he quit riding. I thought it was going to go somewhere bad. I'm glad it didn't. You never know when you start reading a chat like that without reading the end of it, how it's going to go. Sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, my dad did a cool thing and it was fun. And another time it's like, oh, yeah, my dad used to ride a bike and then he's fucking dead in the worst way. Like, fuck, dude, sorry.
I could never ride without gear.
I mean, like I'll ride without a jacket sometimes if I know I'm not going on the highway,
Yeah.
Well, but like gloves and a helmet are a must, and I usually like wearing boots.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple people who've had to deal with like the road rash from not wearing gear. Most of the time, it's because they were weren't the brightest bulb and looped their bikes.
Yeah,
and it's like, here's another 3 months 2 months of recovery to fix that road rash?
Dude, I've got a friend who he keeps getting road rash over and over again.
He
Like,
just likes it.
like he had a
You look like
little,
Deadpool.
he had like a little electric bike that he crashed, and then he had a stand-up gas scooter that he like fucking souped up in his garage to go really fast, and then he crashed the fuck out of that, and like
Tired
that's when he got it
oneself.
really bad. And then he had like this little 125 two-stroke dirt bike that he was selling, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, like I can't ride, but can you ride it around for me so I know that it works?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And he hopped on it, and then the fucking throttle stuck. And yeah, he fucking crashed the fuck out of it, and he wasn't wearing gear because he wasn't expecting to ride, and he got fucking road rash all the. Oh, I'm like, oh my god, dude, you need to just wear a leather jacket. Like, just wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, take a shower, dry off, put on a t-shirt and a leather jacket, and that's just your apparel now.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Dude, Never Enough Ammo bought. I don't know if I should tell everybody this. Fuck it, I'm telling everybody. Matt bought a bike, but not for himself.
Oh.
Yeah. He got a Honda 300L. Dual sport. Now I need to sell Matt my KLR so he can ride with the person that he bought it for. Well, he didn't even really buy it, but he rode it home. I was worried for him, but he got home safe. He hasn't rode a bike for a really long time, but I guess it's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah.
You don't really forget. Maybe a little bit nervous about it the first time in a while. I know I was when I had a Ninja 500, and then I bought a SV 650 after that, and then I didn't have a bike for a couple of years, and then I got that Ninja. Like the first couple times I rode that Ninja, I was like pretty cautious for the, you know what I mean? Because it had been a minute, you know.
You're like, this feels way faster than I remember.
Yeah, just a different kind of power. Plus the suspension on that thing is a little different than like the SV was very sharp and hard. Like, you know, if you hit every little bump, every pebble, you feel it. Like the Ninja was kind of softer, so I wasn't used to that. You know, like little differences like that, which actually makes going around a corner more difficult. It's counterintuitive. You'd think, oh yeah, soft means better. Like, no, not necessarily. I'd rather that harsh suspension that fucking you really feel the road, you know?
I know. It's like sometimes you go around a corner, it's like, yeah, just hit that bump. There's a nasty bump at like the center of a corner when I go to work. Every time I hit it, it's like I feel like I could jump it if I went a little faster.
You should do it.
I know.
Oh, so I never told you about my third bike.
Yeah, what is it?
So, yeah, I had the KLR, and then I've got the Ninja, and I had the Ninja at my friend's house, and I've got the KLR at my house, and I gave him the keys, so if he wanted to ride it, he could. And my boss was like, hey, I want to buy the Ninja from you. And I was like, okay. And I named a price, and he agreed. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, I don't have that bike anymore. Even though like that deal hasn't gone through yet, he hasn't given me the money. There's still some things that I'm going to do to the bike before I give it to him. You know, like it's still in my possession. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have a sport bike anymore. And that really sucks. I wish that I had one. Oh, Chasing Ghosts. I need to send you a link. So I was looking at Craig's cock again, you know, Craig's cunt, whatever, Craigslist. And I found an FZ6 for $1,200 is what he was asking. And like the fairings were cracked a little bit, and it hadn't ran in a year, and like the front tire was flat because the valve stem, and it needs an oil change, and the fork seal's leaking. But as far as I can tell, that's all that's wrong with it, you know? And like none of those things are really major. And I like drove over there being like, okay, well, if this thing doesn't start right up, or if it runs like shit, or if shifting is like any way bad, or like anything about the bike at all beyond what I already know, I'm walking away. And it
Yeah.
starts right up. It's butter fucking smooth. It shifts through all the fucking gears. Like, it's got all the power that it should have. It sounds great. So I talked him down to 1,100 and I bought it.
Man, I hate deals like that. It's like, oh, I wish I had good deals here. Just
So
don't
in
see
1
them.
year, I bought 3 bikes: the Ninja for 1,000, the KLR for 500, and the FZ6 for 1,100. So for $2,600, I have 3 motorcycles.
They're all better than mine.
And I'm selling the Ninja for basically the other 2 bikes will be free now. That's how much money. So that's nice. So I'm like way ahead on bikes, man, right now.
It's been
I don't
your
know.
year.
I don't know about continuing to find these deals though, because I keep looking, and I don't know. There was one bike that I was looking at that isn't my style of bike, but someone was looking for a bike, and they're like, how do you find all these deals? And they're in the Denver area, and I was like, here, buy this Honda Shadow. It was a Honda Shadow 600 with nothing wrong with it except for the dude hadn't cleaned the carburetor. It's like, clean the carburetor. Now you have a motorcycle for $1,000. You know.
You could start you a part-time job running a dealership.
Yeah. Consultant firm. Hey, I'm looking for a shitty bike. Here. That'd be $100.
I mean, what's the oldest bike that you would buy? You know, if you're like looking at a used bike, how old is too old?
90s? Like anything older than 90s start to get, I feel like, are hard to find parts. Especially if it's not a common model or something.
Yeah, for me, it's anything in the 90s. Like if it's like 99, maybe, you know, but like 2000 and newer is kind of my rule.
Yeah, like if it's something like a KLR or like a DRZ, something that there are thousands of them out there. You're not gonna run out of parts. Yeah, I'll go as old as 90s. But like if it's something like a BMW K100, I'm gonna stay away from that. That thing looks sick.
Calhoun says, read my last chat. You'll be glad you did. Google what NATO reporting name for Kami MiG-15 is. Okay. Apparently, if you drop money in the chat, I just do whatever you say. Because I'm just... All right, what am I Googling? Kami name for MiG-15. Hold on, I gotta look at it again. MiG-15 is NATO reporting name. Got it. NATO reporting name. The NATO reporting name for the MiG-15 is aircraft. Jet 15 is faggot. That's what they call it, is faggot. All right. All right. Did you guys watch the video earlier when I was at the last part and the guy fucking rolled by on the Harley and I called him a gay faggot? That is a South Park reference, if you don't know.
It's not a South Park reference. It's just facts.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, what is the oldest bike you've ever owned? How about that? Like the oldest one that you've actually owned. And for me, it was a first gen SV650. And it was actually a 1999. But they made those for so many years. It's like you were saying, you know, like it didn't really matter.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I've only owned one motorcycle, but my oldest bike is my Sears 10-speed. It's probably from the 90s.
Oh, you're talking bicycle? What kind of bike do you ride again?
Versus 300.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
They've only been out for like
Yeah.
2017.
Basically brand new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the AI shit at the Kamala rallies? I saw something about that, and I couldn't tell if it was or not an AI image. I'm not sure. Lawfully Armed, did you see that? The AI images of
getting off the airplane.
Yeah.
I was looking at something on Facebook about that right before you went live. I hadn't had a chance to go back and see unedited pictures because the same post pointed out had already somebody had drawn lines and stuff. But yeah, it looks like if it's not doctored that you can't out of the polish mirror on the airplane, you don't see the crowd in the reflection.
I wonder sometimes how much of these things that we see are fake or real. And I forgot to send Tara a link. Hold on. I meant to send Tara a link.
Remember, the government controls the media. Oh, wait, that's just in Canada.
Symbiotic. They control the media and the media controls them.
Oh, that's the wrong link. Here's the right link. Boom. Boom. If you want to join, if you're able to, if you're not driving or writing or whatever right now.
Did you see former CEO of YouTube?
Yeah, Wojcicki or whatever the fuck her name is. She died of turbo cancer. It's no bueno. You know, like as much as I didn't like her policies and stuff, I don't really wish that on anybody, you know. Even if it does seem like maybe she got hoisted by her own petard, as it were, without saying anything specifically, because this is a motorcycle chat. But yeah.
Sorry.
Man, if I had $2,000 right now, man, this Goldwyn looks really tempting.
You got anything in your area that's any good?
It's a Goldwing.
Because there was a SV650 in my area on Facebook Marketplace for like $1,400 that doesn't run, but it's super simple, and I know I could get it to run. But I already have 3 bikes. I don't need 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if I were to get another bike, I would like to get like some kind of cruiser with like a shaft drive,
like a V-Star.
Yeah, something you don't have to maintain, like the chain all the time.
V-Star with fuel injection.
It's so hard to maintain a chain,
especially when you're driving it all the time.
Nah, you gotta get you one of them belt drives, like the Harleys.
Oh, the belt drive would work too. You don't have to.
Yeah, but then like the smallest pebble makes its way in there and fucks everything up, dude. I think chain's king. Is like chain, as simple as it is, it's you lose the least amount of power from the drivetrain to the back wheel. You lose less than the fucking. Well, I mean, I think it's equivalent to belt probably. But certainly, it's better than shaft drive.
Oh yeah.
Got to drive that shaft, right, Daniel?
There we go.
Chasing Ghost says oldest was 1952 Harley Davidson. Oldest I actually rode was a 1973 Kawasaki 750 triple. That's pretty cool. I rode an old. It was an old Shadow, like an '87 Shadow that my buddy's dad had. Just around the neighborhood, and then there was some old fucking dirt bike that I don't even know what it was when I was a kid. It wasn't mine. It was my buddy's, and he only had it for like one summer. But we rode the fuck out of that thing.
Even something like an old Shadow, like something you could probably like hack together, and keep running. Won't be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, in my area right now, just on looking on Craigslist, if we go not newest, but price from low to high, a bunch of bullshit at the bottom, right? Because that's the way it always works. The cheapest bike that's actually a bike is a Yamaha Venture with 50,000 miles. from 1983. And that's way too old for me. But he only wants $700 for it. If you're into Yamaha Adventures, the cheapest bike that I would actually buy and ride. I don't know. I guess I'd ride that Suzuki Intruder. Why not? No, that looks super gay. Plus, it's from the 90s. Never mind.
They're the KLRs. They're $3,000.
Dude, Honda ST 1300 for $2,000. There you go. V4 shaft driven. That's a fucking badass bike, bro.
Engine's too big.
7.5 gallon tank. You get 350 miles per fucking tank. And it comes with bags and everything, man. That's actually, for the kind of riding I do, like that would be a good bike. I kind of like that. Like I wouldn't want a Goldwing, but this is like one step away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not quite a Goldwing, but close enough.
Probably faster than a Goldwing.
Wouldn't be as heavy. What do the Goldwings weigh? There's something great.
Like 600 pounds, 700 pounds, 800 pounds. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
There's something crazy. I remember that.
Yeah.
How much does a Honda Goldwing weigh?
I think
787 to 853 pounds.
That's
just for the new one. That's the new one.
Yeah, so like 2 of my bike.
Yeah, literally 2 of. I have 2 bikes that weigh together. Dude, actually, with everything on it, how much do you think the KLR weighs? First gen KLR, roll cages and like not roll cages, but like the crash cages and crash bars all around it. How much do you think it weighs?
KLR? That's probably like 450, right?
It's got to be. Yeah, probably around the 450 mark.
Well, from the factory, like factory, nothing on it, they say it's 415 pounds.
Ooh.
With everything I've got on it, it's sitting at like 460, which still isn't that bad. Considering the new one is like 520 for the newest one, like the adventure model or whatever.
Yeah, they say my bike's 380 pounds curb weight. So I don't know what that.
It just means with like some gas in the tank, you know, not like completely topped off. So wet weight means like topped off on all fluids and everything.
Yeah.
Curb weight means like, yeah, you've got oil in it and everything that you need. All the fluids are full, but you only have like 1 gallon of gas in the tank. They try to cut off the weight a little bit by doing it that way.
Let's see.
Hoononymous says there's a 1983 VTX around me for $700. I want it. Dude, again, like a bike that old, I would caution people from buying a bike that old. What's up, Tara? Because
nothing much.
Nice. Like a bike that old, you gotta look at the brake lines, you gotta look at the clutch cables, you gotta look at the fuel lines. It's not just like clean out the carburetor and get it running, you know, because then probably the forks are all fucking like the oil hasn't been changed there in 17 years, and you know, like who knows what else needs to get done on it.
Yeah, how hard are the fork seals to get?
I don't know. You just start tearing into a bike like that, like your $700, like, oh, I got a cool bike, turns into a fucking nightmare and a project that never gets finished, and a pile of parts in your backyard that's gathering dust and rust and fucking rats. And you know, I've seen it happen before. Anyway, I'm not saying that bike, like if you can find something that someone has already loved and restored or continually loved, guy says it's running.
There's a bike I keep going. It's like a couple blocks away. I want to go and knock on the door and see if I can offer him like $500 for it.
Did that bike sit for very long?
What's that?
Did that bike sit for very long, or like was it like used a lot?
Which bike?
The one that you blew the fork seals on.
Oh, I think it sat for like a year or two, like 2 years it sat. Actually, I think it was only 1 year because the plate that he took off of it was just barely fucking expired. But it sat for long enough that the fucking fuel lines and everything needed to be replaced, and I just bought a new carburetor altogether and threw it in there rather than dealing with that old one.
Yeah, I probably would have too. But anytime you leave something like that sitting, whether it's a truck, whether it's a bike, what have you, anything that's rubber or plastic, stuff like that, it has an effect on it, and that may have had an effect on blowing the seal. Is all I'm saying. It's like you buy an old car that's been sitting for a while. The first thing you do is you replace the belts, the hoses, that kind of stuff. Because once the motor starts getting warmed up and cooling off again, you're going to end up with leaks and stuff like that.
Well, I've been shaking this bike down. Like I've been riding it like hard around the neighborhood and stuff, but nothing like what I did today. And I think that was the thing. It was a much longer ride over much rougher terrain. And I was starting to get comfortable on the dirt a little bit, so I was going around corners and fucking hauling ass and stuff. And
bottom out, any?
I don't think I did. It's got upgraded shocks in the back and upgraded springs in the forks.
Yeah.
So at no point, I mean, maybe I came close to bottoming out, but I don't think I actually bottomed out. But
I've done it a couple times on my bike. It's always like the worst sound possible.
Yeah, definitely didn't hear that. But I did hit like 60, 65 miles an hour on dirt today.
It's fun, isn't it?
Which previously I thought was, first of all, impossible to fucking not die doing. And second of all, insane to even try. But I don't know, like when I got there, like I was going around corners in like first gear, dude, because I'm scared, I'm like, I'd slide a little bit and I'd slow way down and I'd slide a little bit and I'd slow way down. But then towards the end of the day on the way back, I was like kind of anxious to get back a little bit and feeling way more comfortable with the bike. So yeah, I kept it in. I never went into first gear on the way back, and I was in third gear a couple times.
You kind of stop thinking about it.
Yeah, and you get comfortable with the tail sliding a little bit because it magically self-corrects somehow if you do it right. And so that takes some getting used to. You got to feel that like 25 times before you're like, okay, let me trust it now. At least that was me.
When you start the slide, like, you ever explain to somebody like the feeling of like when you're on the edge of like sliding? It's like you start to feel the back of the bike kind of slide a little. Like, this is fine.
Oh, if someone's sitting on the back, yeah.
No, like if you're talking to somebody, it's like, oh yeah, I took that corner a little fast, felt the little slide. They just look at you like, you almost ate shit.
Dude,
yeah, but I live and I want to do it again.
One time I was out on this date with this girl and it rained and I dropped her off at her house and I hung out there till the fucking roads dried up mostly, and then I rode home and it was mostly highway on the way home, and it was like one highway connected to another highway at a point, and it went in this like underground tunnel bridge thing, and it was completely dry in there. So I'm like hauling ass through this shit, right? And I'm leaned over, like I'm going like probably 80-90% of the lean that I can do on this bike, So I still got like 10% left, a little bit, but I'm like fucking almost all in. And from the ceiling, there's this little hole that's seeping water through and dripping water across the road all of a sudden. And it's right fucking there, and I've got no time to slow down. So I fucking, like, I let off the gas. I didn't even have time to touch the brake yet. And I hit that little stream, and my bike goes sideways to the left and then sideways to the right and then fucking settles back in its fucking like direction on the rail or whatever you want to think about it as that it was riding on. And then I slowed down a little bit and I hit a second one. There was another little stream from the ceiling. Oh my God, dude. I thought I was going to die. I had a couple of pucker moments today too. Cause like there's a couple of spots on the road that were pretty fucking sandy, and it, until you learn to spot it, that sand is way different than riding across like the dirt and rocks,
Yeah.
When
Is
it's
your
on
tire-
top of when it's
Oh,
on
good.
top of asphalt or concrete, it's totally different.
Oh yeah, when it's on top of concrete, it's like fucking ball bearings.
I hit that like 2 weeks ago, and there's a spot on my way to work where they're building an overpass that you can't go straight through. So I have to make a right, and I open it up. I mean, it's a 40-mile-an-hour construction zone, but everyone's doing 70. So I just kind of open it up, hit about, I don't know, 110, 120, and I flip and I make a U-turn because I've got to get ahead of everyone so they don't run me over when I slow down to make the U-turn.
Right.
And I slow down and I'm making this U-turn. And right at the point where you roll on the throttle, just because it's fun, the whole aspect the other way, I hit gravel. And I nearly lost it. But not only did I hit gravel, somehow my pants leg caught on my peg. And it scared the hell out of me. I didn't drop the bike, but it still scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. So when that
Dude,
one thing goes wrong and you can't do what you wanted to, it's like, oh, everything's wrong.
Dude, that shit like happened to me, kind of, not that, but like on the way home from work last night or the night before. That was the night before. My shoelace wrapped around the peg, and I didn't realize it until I was at a stoplight and I tried to take my foot off of the peg, and my shoelace was attached to it, and I nearly dumped the bike at a fucking stoplight, dude. Like I ripped my shoelace like fucking off of my shoe. I have to buy a new shoelace for my work shoes now.
Isn't that momentarily terrifying, though, when you go to move your foot and it's caught on something and you've got to put it down and you think you're just going to drop the bike right there?
Now I know how Joe Biden feels.
So I have actually dropped my bike on the road for the first
They
time.
give him
Someone
Velcro,
got it.
dude.
I went to McDonald's, got my food, threw it in my basket, and their drive-throughs covered in stuff that people's dropped. It was slippery. Didn't think about it. Got to the first stop sign, put my foot down, and it just slid out from under me. And it dropped my bike.
Yeah, one time I was taking a right turn and I was going like 5 miles an hour. Like I was going so slow and so cautious around this turn because it was wet and I could see that it was wet. And someone had dropped like some bread or something onto that part of the road that mixed with the wet and turned it into like grease. Like it turned it into the slipperiest thing. And my tire rolled right over it. And the second that it did, at 5 miles an hour, my bike slid out from underneath me like it wasn't even there. And I was so embarrassed that I like picked it up and I was gone in fucking 3 seconds, dude. Fucking shit.
Yeah, it's just like, did I just really drop this? I'm getting out of here. I'm done.
The problem around here is we have so many construction trucks and farm trucks and what have you, and a lot of the intersections just constantly have gravel in them. So you have to be really careful. Any place you stop to turn, stop to do anything, there's just gravel. Usually it's the larger gravel, so it's not as big a deal with the bike as it is with your foot. Because you'll put your foot down, and when you hit it, it's like putting it on marbles, and your foot wants to keep going. And you just have to be careful of that, or, some farmer comes out of the field, and you've just got mud all over the road from this tractor they're walking down the road.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to be the ones who get pissed off, too, because I've had a few instances of, I made, what was it, Moto Stars or one of them on one of my videos. And what it was this guy got pissed off because I passed him. And the dude goes and he chases me, and I know there's like a sharp, 90-degree left turn in front of me. And it's on a messed up road. There's deep ruts in it. It's cracked up. You can see it a lot on my videos. I go through there a lot. And I know I can't go through there very, very fast. And this guy's chasing me down there with his brights on. I get through it and I find a spot that I can get off to the side and let him go. But then a couple weeks ago, there's this other guy, and it always seems to be like some old dude in a pickup that's wanting to do 30 miles an hour. And I realize it's like a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit, and I'm doing a whole lot faster than that. I'm on a bike, you know? I'm going to get the hell out of there. I'm having fun.
How's it going, y'all?
And good. As I go to pass him, he just swerves over at me. And this is just a little country blacktop road. There's no lines, there's no shoulder, there's no anything. And he tries to hit me with his truck. And it's like, holy shit. And, then I'll wait until I have an opportunity, and then I'll just haul ass past him before he can come over. But for some reason, it always seems to be like some old dude in a pickup that's pissed off because he thinks they're driving too fast.
So there's a pretty common motorcycle windy road that's not too far from my house that I used to frequent quite a bit back in the day. And, I still would. Why not? And it's also used by construction workers who have to go up into the hills and build stuff, so they've got like their pickup truck with like it's loaded down with shit, and it's not constant, but like if you get stuck behind one of them, it sucks. So what you do is you pass them at your like the earliest possible convenience, and there was this guy in a pickup truck going ahead of me 10 miles below the speed limit, swerving into oncoming traffic lanes to like let us know, like the bikers behind him know that like you try to pass me and I'm going to try to get you. So I fucking timed it, right? Like I'm like, okay, there's a corner here and then he's going to have to slow down, which means if I give him some space and then gun it right after the corner, I'm going to be like coming Mach speed by the time he sees me. And he sees me. And so he guns it and like, he's fucking like gunning it, right? Trying to like get me. And now I'm like in front of him. And now I have to go around every single corner, like as fast as I can. Like, thankfully I was pretty good at riding and I was on a quick bike where I did eventually get away from him to where he wasn't really a concern anymore. But that guy was trying to fucking kill me, dude. That dude wanted to kill me because I passed him.
Yeah, that's like the one that chased me. And I was real close to, I don't want to say something that's too bad for YouTube.
Use code words.
He was about to get some freedom seats through his windshield.
There you go. He's going to get it, the pew to the pew.
Yeah, the 44 grain ones.
I'm
Yeah, you carry a
jealous.
44? Are you in bear country?
No, we got hogs. They ate a lady out here, like a home health care nurse. She got caught between her car and the front door of this house, and they found what was left of her because the hogs ate her.
Bro, that's
Hey,
a horror
Or-
movie. That's a fucking horror movie. That's
Wait,
terrible.
are you allowed to hunt them?
I'm not worried
Um,
about. Yeah, I'm not worried about the
Anytime you want.
alligators. As long as you're not stupid enough to swim with the alligators, you're fine. The hogs, though, they can outrun you, out-corner you, out everything. All you can do is climb a tree or shoot them.
So,
I was
so
talking to
question:
Oh, good.
how old were you when you got your first pet alligator?
I don't have pet alligators.
I think you have misconceptions about how things work in the United States.
I can't have a pet alligator. I thought that was the
Oh, you
land
can
of the
have a
free.
pet alligator.
They're not
People catch
obligatory. You don't automatically get one.
What people
they-
usually do is they'll catch the babies and they'll put them in a pond or something, or they'll put them in a water tank on an oil field site or something, let them tear
Yeah.
your boot up or something like that. But it's just, they were here before we were. I'm in Southeast Texas. It's swampland, rice fields, cane fields. It looks like Louisiana. It's,
If I was really rich, I would build a moat around my mansion and fill it with alligators and like make sure that they were well fed until it was like time to like protect things, and then I would starve them.
oh
And
no,
then
I would make
and
it a
then anything that
saltwater
tries-
thing.
Well, yeah, but then anyone who tries to come into your land has to deal with hungry alligators.
The crocs are a lot meaner though.
So you're talking about a V-Star, 2008 V-Star 650 for $2,200, and it's been on there for 2 weeks. Meaning you could hit this guy up and be like, "Hey, I want to come look at the bike." Go look at the bike and offer him $1,800 cash in hand, and probably get it. Because he's been trying to sell it for 2 weeks and no one's buying, and you show up with money in hand, he'll take $400 off the price just to not have to deal with it anymore. You know, that's how you do that shit. That's how you do that shit. I'm saying it's a little bit more than I like to spend on a bike, but 1,800, that's reasonable, especially for a 2008 that's got, like, look at this thing. It's all blacked out and custom and doesn't look like it's got a scratch or a dent on it. You know, comes with bags and a windshield.
You gotta have the windshield.
Oh, there's your damage. Oh, yep, there's your $400 right there. That tailpipe. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's
It's $100 right there.
Well, yeah, typical listing price is $3,400. This dude's already trying to sell it. He needs the money, right? So you go to the guy who's trying to sell it, who needs the money, who no one's looking at his bike, because here's the other thing. Look at where he's at. He's in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, no one lives here. Some people do, but not very many, you know? So, like, versus if you're trying to sell a bike, like, down here, it's like shit tons of people live here. So there's, like, a ton of people who want to come look at your bike versus no one's going to come driving fucking, you know, an hour and a half to come look at a bike that they might not buy. And that's the other thing is if you go to look at a used bike, the way that I usually do it is with the mentality that I'm just going to go look and I'm going to walk away from this bike because there's going to be something wrong with it. And I'm not going to want to deal with someone's problem. You know, like more than what they already told me, more than what I already know. You know, there's going to be something else wrong with it too. Because if it's so bad that it's like, I don't even want to buy it because it's too much wrong with it, then why are you looking at the bike? Don't even look at it. Like that's automatically disqualifies you. Like someone's project bike sitting in parts in their fucking garage. Unless you're Jake the Garden Snake and you know how to do things and you really want some content for your YouTube channel, stay the fuck away from that because that's just going to be a fucking money hole and a time hole and a bottomless pit of fucking despair and frustration and anger and, you know, I don't know what the equivalent is in the gun world. You like buying pieces for an MG42 one at a time on eBay and expecting it to work out. Nope, and now I'm playing fucking things.
You don't get lucky with deals like that.
I was wondering if you could help me look at something.
Sure.
So I'm looking for gloves. He's got gloves and boots, but I need like steel toes for boots. I still may get them, just keep my steel toes in the truck. But you know Indy Ridge?
No.
It's indyridge.com, and he has like boots and motorcycle shoes and gloves. And I really need gloves right now, and I'm trying to decide on gloves.
General rule for gloves for me is I need two pairs of gloves, right? I need a pair of gloves for when it's hot and a pair of gloves for when it's cold. I would prefer them to be full gauntlet, meaning it goes beyond the base of your wrist and actually goes onto your forearm. And I would prefer that they have some kind of sliding mechanism. Beyond that, I don't really have an opinion. Like I don't have no strong opinion.
I have the 509, not 509, the 5 gloves or whatever.
What's it called?
I'm just looking to find them.
I've got Core-Tech that I got from Honda.
These ones, 5 gloves?
Yeah, I have.
Like these ones would be fine, you know, like something that goes up over your wrist so it doesn't just stop here. Like these ones most people wear, and I'm like, that's not enough because like that shit can get ripped off your hand so easy. But if it's got the full gauntlet, it's harder for that to happen. And then you get like a leather set like this, and then you get like a what do you call it? Fucking breathable set. I can't think of the word. Mesh.
I generally just get good leather gloves. I mean, if they're hot down here, no big deal. In the wintertime, it doesn't get that cold, so I don't need like for a week, maybe your hands are cold, so you're sitting at a light with your hands down by the motor, trying to warm your hands up, because your hands are getting cold. But that's like a week, it's not that big of a deal here like it is where you are. And I really just got a good pair of leather gloves. And I believe the ones I have right now are Cortec, and I got them from a Honda dealer like 3 years ago. And they're good gloves. They're just now coming apart, but they're starting to come apart back at the Velcro. And it's like ripping apart from them. So I'm fixing to order some gloves.
All right. Yeah, I have the 5 Spark gloves. They're like heavy duty canvas on like the back of the hand. They're only a wrist glove, but I found they were nice. They have I think is it deer leather for the palm?
I actually have a set of these that I use when
Goat
it's hot
leather.
outside. These are what I use when it's hot outside.
Well, that's
Because they, I mean, I don't know. It's not going to protect you as good as a leather glove, but at least it's going to breathe. And you take off your gloves and it's not like fucking water pours out. You know, like gross.
Yeah, I'm generally riding. If I drive to work, it takes 45 minutes to an hour. If I ride to work, it takes like 27 to 30 minutes. And, so it's like I'm not on the bike for that long going to work and back. As long as it gets tight around my wrists where it's good and secure and it's a good leather glove and the fingers are covered, I won't do that fingerless thing. You know?
What?
The ones with the fingers cut out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, where I live, I got 3 sets of gear. I have the summer gear, the cold gear, and basically the winter gear, all the heated stuff. Because I'm that loony that rides in the snow.
Honestly, like if you're looking for budget moto gear, hold on, I'll get to that in 1 second. MSB 9021 said nickname for kids with pet alligators equals Stumpy. Dude, I was looking on again Craigslist the other day, and they've got like, okay, here, let me go to Craigslist actually, and actually show you. So they've got like the motorcycle section, motorcycle parts is what you want, right? And they've got like jackets and gear and stuff. I mean, like I wouldn't necessarily take a pair of boots from somebody, or I don't know, maybe not a helmet if it was used. But if you need something for your bike or you need some gear, used is fucking fantastic, because most of the stuff that is used on the used market, like for a jacket or whatever, works just as good as it did when it was brand new. And you're paying $250 instead of like $600 or whatever the fuck it was when it was from the store, you know? So if you're looking for budget shit, like honestly, it's a good place to look.
Yeah, the way the economy is, everyone's looking at budget stuff. But the other guy at the Indy Red, he actually rides a bike, and I've been on several chats with him. And he's a pretty cool dude if you want to check his site out sometime. But he had a pair of gloves on there that I like. What I'll probably end up doing is just getting a cheap pair of gloves from like Cycle Gear or what have you. We got the largest Cycle Gear down here, but that's on like the other side of Houston.
Yeah, I gotta check out Cycle. Like that's another thing that you can do. Okay, like I want to order a helmet off of Amazon because it's cheaper than going to Cycle Gear, right? But if you go to Cycle Gear, they will let you try on helmets till you find the one that you like that fits you, and then you put it back on the shelf and say thank you and good day, and then go find the one on Amazon for fucking $100 cheaper than they were trying to sell to you at the store.
One of them people.
And get it at the exact, you know what I mean? Well, I mean,
they've
honestly,
got a wall. They've got a wall that's like, God, I think it's got to be like 200-foot sections with helmets on each side, and it's way up in the air. There's more helmets. I mean, that's the biggest one in the United States. But I'll send you pictures sometime, or next time I go, I'll take pictures of it. There's just so many helmets there.
Do you disagree with that practice?
Oh, going to a store and buying it.
Yeah. Like I'm not trying to take anybody's time up. You know, like if a salesperson comes over, I'll just tell them no, thank you, and have a nice day or whatever. You know, I'm not going to be rude to them or like make them show me things and then do my bidding and bring me sodas and then just leave and buy it off Amazon.
Right.
But I will like hop around and try a couple of helmets on until I find, like I already have an idea of what I want, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
But then
I was like, I ordered my first helmet. It fits okay, but I should have went a size up on it. My second helmet, it fits pretty good. The nice thing was that my dad gave me an old crappy helmet. They give you just to get rid of the helmet, they gave you like a 10% discount on the new helmet. It's like, okay, there's my tax.
Oh, wait, what is
God
it?
damn, 10%.
I think we threw those helmets away. I got some crappy helmets sitting around.
Yeah,
I'm having
Oh, good.
a hard time getting a pin lock for my visor. I've got the pin lock visor. It's a Scorpion. What is that? EXO R420. And
Actually,
you can get the pin lock visors all day, but you can't get the insert that goes in them. And it's like Scorpion's not making any more for them. And fog is an issue here.
It's a nice helmet. I found Scorpion is a little bit smaller too. Like if a large fits you and then you buy a large Scorpion, it's like maybe I should have gone XL.
Yeah, but they're also really light.
But I mean, supposedly, if you read their pamphlets, it's like no. Actually, that's correct. The large is still a large. It's supposed to fit you extra tight at first until the foam and stuff kind of molds to your face and your head.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so uncomfortable in the meantime. And then, like, if you have to put in any kind of fucking, you want to put like Bluetooth in your helmet, they leave you like the tiniest fucking possible space, and like there's different sized ear things and different thickness ear things, and you know what I mean. Like depending on what you order, it may or may not work with the Scorpion helmets. Like it's kind of stupid like that. I wish they were more modular, but I mean, part of that's for safety reasons. Like it's supposed to be tight on your head and hold firm and blah blah blah, and like the reason why it's like only got that much space is because you still need the padding there behind your ear, and if you cut that out, then like you might as well throw the fucking helmet away, like that kind of shit.
Luckily, mine was broken pretty good before I put all that in there, because I've got 2 microphones in my helmet, and I've got all the wiring for like the Cardo, which is on one side of my helmet, and then the little tiny mic that comes with the Cardo. Just throw that away, and use the mic that you use on like a modular helmet or what have you, that boom thing, and affix that in there, and you don't have any problems. But then I got the stuff for the GoPro and everything ran through the other side. Of course, I got the speakers and both of the ear holes. And actually, I do remember at first I could kind of feel the wires and stuff in there, because the length of the wires, you got to kind of run them through there just to give them space to put them somewhere, because you don't want to bunch them up. And like anything else, you'd kind of bunch them up and put a zip tie or something on them. And you're not going to do that inside your helmet, because that's going to be something that's hitting your head.
Let's go to Kijiji and see what's on it.
Yeah.
I kind of like this jacket. That's nice. $300 though for a used jacket. Fuck you.
Question about the Cardos. Do you have like the JBL speakers on them?
I think that's what they come with. I got the ones that it came with. I've never had any problems with it. People are like, well, why don't you get the stereo system that goes with the bike? Because I've got a Lowrider ST. And I'm like, why do I want to pay the money to put the insert in there for something I'm not going to hear at like 75, 80 miles an hour when I've got my music in my helmet and my phone and everything else?
Do they sound good? Like the speakers? Yeah. Or would you say go earbuds?
Oh, it's way better than earbuds. I would definitely suggest a Cardo or even a Sena or any of them. Sena, I think, does better like for like filming and stuff. I think they have one with a camera or what have you on it. But I've just always had Cardo, and I've had no problems with it. It works good, does everything it's supposed to. It holds its charge a long time.
This is literally the one that I have, and it works great too for $30 fucking. Like honestly, it's maybe like the Cardo would be a little bit better sound quality when you're at high speed, because it does get a little harder to hear when you're going 75. But that's only when you're listening to like talk radio. Like if you're listening to music, you can still hear it. It's just like, what did that guy just say? I can't quite hear him. You know what I mean? Like that. I wish it was a little bit louder. But for $30 fucking, you know, versus how much are the Cardos? Like fucking 200.
Usually you get them in a pack for close to like 500. Like with tax, it'll cost you like 550, 560-ish, and you'll get 2 of them. But the Cardos now will link to the other units that aren't Cardo, which when I got mine, they wouldn't do it, but apparently mine will do that now.
And the way that I always did that would be to, and here's the old one that I used to have, and this one worked even better, I thought. It was even louder. But you just hop on your, like, connect it to your phone, and then if you want to talk to somebody, you either call them on your phone and you're just talking on the phone, or you hop in like a Discord or something. And like as many people want to be in the Discord on a ride, and you can have like 12 people. And it's not like you're sitting there trying to connect Cardos to Yinlings to fucking other Chinese brand bullshit thing, you know? As long as your phone can connect to your shit and we're in an area that has some sort of internet, it works.
Welcome to Ontario.
Oh yeah. Doesn't work there.
You'd be going down the road, like the 401, the main like highway from Windsor to the Toronto, Ottawa, whatever. I don't know where it ends, but it's like you're going along and there's like sections where it's like, oh, there's no signal. My music stopped.
Yeah, that's why Jake's been trying to like kind of convert all his friends, and it kind of seems like he has into the just basically walkie-talkies.
Yeah, that radio system seems to work pretty well, but if everyone isn't on the radio system, then it doesn't work, you know? But I guess the same thing if like you're doing adventure biking and you're going through the mountains of Colorado, there's huge stretches of area where there's no fucking internet, and that shit's not going to work either, so... But in that case, I guess you just bite the bullet and connect your fucking your Bluetooth to the guy you want to talk to, you know? Because that's the other thing. If like you can start getting like 10 people who were all trying to Bluetooth in, trying to connect Cardos to everything, that's when you just spend fucking 15 minutes getting frustrated and you need a fucking cigarette.
I've been thinking, I don't have the money for it right now, but I've been looking at like the GoPro, that 12 that came out, the Hero Black 12, whatever. But it's supposed to have Bluetooth capability. And what I've been wondering is if I could Bluetooth that to my Cardo. Because the Cardo does the Bluetooth like to the phone and everything. And then like instead of like the helmet mounted camera, you know, you still even have a helmet mounted camera, but you've got the audio and everything at the same time and all that for the bike mounted camera.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this says live streaming. Like, how the fuck do you do that shit with a fucking GoPro?
I do that all the time.
Like, are you talking like straight out? Oh, like streaming from your phone or connected to a computer?
From my phone. What I do is I use my phone as a hotspot, and then I connect the GoPro. Like when you go to what is that setting on there where it's like preview? You know, like where you can see where your camera's looking at and all that stuff. There'll be a thing in the bottom where you can click on it for live stream. And then you'll have your options where you've got to hook to a Wi-Fi thing. So use your phone for a hotspot. And then once you select that, you go down through, like you select YouTube, and it'll automatically go to my YouTube channel. And you can put in a YouTube title or what have you, and then play. And now I've found that the feed, because you click another button and it comes up and you have the feed like you're watching YouTube like normal, and you have your chat going up. But don't watch that when you're going down the road. Wait till you're like at an intersection or pull off, which is generally what I do. And I'll look at the chat and everything when I'm parked, not trying to read it going down the road, because that
Dude, someone needs to come up with a like action cam phone that has action cam phone chest mounts and action cam phone fucking like motorcycle handlebar mounts to let you fucking look at a screen and record what's in front of you. That's got like 360 capability and all that shit built into the phone, so that you can just you don't need to fucking have like. It's got like good microphones and everything in it too, and like all the fucking like holes in it to plug whatever you want into it if it's not good enough. You know, all that.
Like a
shit.
headphone jack.
Yes,
Man,
like
I want a phone with a headphone jack.
Yes.
No.
I want a
Okay.
heads-up display in my visor, like one of them real expensive cars that put your dash up in your windshield, and then like you could have the chat and everything going in your visor and all that stuff like you're going down the road.
Fighter
That wouldn't be
pilots
so
got
bad.
that shit.
Yeah,
Fighter pilots have
like the fighter.
they're like $1 million helmets though. So
Get yourself a pair of Google glasses.
Yeah, I was about to say some Google Glass.
That might actually work. I mean, I have to wear glasses
if they
too.
still worked. I don't know if the Google glasses are still functional. Oh, here we go. Now this is what I'm talking about. $2,500 for a KLR.
there you
I don't
go.
know. When you're having to talk in the helmet in an area that's very humid, like the Gulf Coast, what have you, fogging becomes an issue. So half the time you're riding down the road and you got your visor cracked just a little bit to keep it from fogging up too bad, because your breath will fog not only your visor, but I have to wear, glasses. So I could ride without wearing glasses, but I can't read anything on the signs without my glasses. And I can't read anything close up with my glasses on. So it'll fog not only that, because your breath will fog your glasses and your visor.
Yep.
So cheapest KLR near me, $3,000. Cheapest one not near me is, I think, $2,500 is the cheapest one there. Oh, that's a $250. Yeah, it's this old one here. What year is 2001? That's not that old. That's like right on the edge of being like, man, I don't know about that bike. Look how rusty it is too. This is worse than mine. This is way worse than mine. That I bought for $500. Dude, if I'd showed up and the guy was like $500 for this, I might have said no.
Yeah.
Because that just looks like it needs work. Like everything on there is like crusty and old and dusty and been outside and bleh. No, thank you.
That fuel tank, or is that just covers?
That's a fuel tank, sir. That he got the fucking big boy fuel tank that hangs down. Look at that. That's fucking hollow. That's a fuel tank. You got the Dakar one or some shit.
How far would you like to go?
Like the regular fuel tank on those Gen 1s is already 6.1 gallons. I don't know why you would really need more than that. That's already ridiculous.
6.1.
Because when I fuel up, I want to last the whole year.
I mean, it'll go 200 miles before you even need to like think about it. You know what I mean? What is this guy doing? Taking pictures of pictures?
Oh, that's why it didn't work. Like, why is this?
You don't see too many of the first gens for sale anymore, though. People either have them and love them and keep them forever, or 2007 and below are hard to find.
You don't have a first gen, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
It's a 05.
I don't remember if I remember seeing somewhere there was like somebody was selling a KLR and it was like a special like edition. Like it had a smaller fuel tank. The headlight was like mounted to the forks. I think it was just supposed to be like a lighter bike.
I think they call that the I crashed my bike and ruined a bunch of shit and ordered aftermarket parts and threw it on the bike edition.
No, it was actual like Pacific model. I don't know if it was sold everywhere though.
No, what we need is the the military KLR, the diesel one.
Oh,
yeah, but if you actually look into those, it's hard to find one that has more than 10,000 miles that isn't blown up. Because the motors are like really, really, really unreliable because they're like super duper high compression motors, you know? And like that's the charm of the KLR is it's a very low compression, low stress motor that just lasts forever because like there's nothing to fucking break on it, you know? That's why they don't have much horsepower. Like especially for a 650, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's a 650. Like that thing's got to have some fucking oomph, and it really doesn't because it's just that low compression fucking thumper.
Yeah, it's a 650 with the power of a 300.
But it'll get you up a steep hill in second gear from like 2 miles an hour. This one's kind of cool. I like this one.
Oh yeah, I love like there's a few bikes on the stuff that's like the 80s 90s like paint job.
Right.
There's a DRZ with the
oof, dude, this one's not good. Like it looks cool.
There's a DRZ with like the white and like the white, like everything's white except for like the letter, and it's like the pink and like the Miami Vice or whatever it's called colors.
So I bought that FZR and it needs fucking fairings, right?
So you're gonna be fiberglassing them, right?
Well, there's no such thing as fairings for an FZR. Not for the year that I have, anyway. Oh, shit. Maybe this guy can answer my questions about it, because as of right now, I don't have any answers at all.
Oh. No, I mean, you watch Super Fast Matt? I mean, he made a whole car body out of...
yeah.
I mean, surely you can take on a fairing.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the FCR, like, there's several different versions of it. There's, I guess, some older versions than the 04, 06, because 04, 05, 06 have all the same body works, and that's the one that I have. And then there's, like, 07, 08, and then there's, like, 9 through 12, and then there's 12 through 15, and they're all fucking slightly different. So my question is, if it's all slightly different, couldn't you just, like, slightly make it work on a different bike? Fucking drill an extra hole or something, you know?
What are we talking about?
Yeah,
I'm not paying attention.
Putting fairings on a bike that are almost right, but not quite.
You can make anything work, man. Zip tie, a little BS bracket from the Home Depot.
Oh, sorry, I got us on that fucking screen. Well, what I was looking at was for the FZR.
Yeah, I need like pictures or something to figure out what's
Check
going
this
on.
out. Headlight assembly, turn signal. It's a naked conversion.
Yeah, I don't. Wow. I don't do words. What's the mechanism for mounting that headlight to the bike? Is what
I believe it's this bracket right here replaces the OEM bracket that holds all the shit on it. So you got to
so that probably lines up with some exact holes,
right,
that you don't have. But you could also just rig something up.
This is specifically for my bike.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. This is actually the holes would line up. You know. You know what I mean?
It uses, fuck it, whatever. The effort on your channel.
And if they don't, hey, it's always Home Depot.
Demonetized.
It's either the P hole or the other P hole. It starts with a P.
No.
Okay, demonetized.
Is that
anyway
done?
Yeah, dude. I don't know how hard this would be though. It's like the headlight assembly. I believe the fucking headlight bulbs themselves would still be just wired in with the OEM wiring, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't really have to do much modification there.
Send it.
Probably
yeah, if it's model specific to your bike, it's probably not too hard.
Worst case scenario, just run your high beam all the time.
The thing that I hate on freaking, because you're on eBay here, right? It's like you would go to be like, oh, let me search the reviews, and you can't like really search. You can search the seller like as a review, but you can't be like, Use of this product unless they've changed things. It's one of the things that always kind of drove me a little nuts on the eBay side of things.
Right, and it would suck to spend $200 on something that just like I might as well have just like gone to fucking Home Depot and bought some scrap metal and done some fucking crazy shit.
I made my own headlight conversion using the CAD method. You know about CAD, right?
Yeah, like drawing it on a computer and like 3D printing it or something.
Sorta.
Or what do you mean?
Cardboard aided design.
I
literally made it out of cardboard, right? I made it out of cardboard. And I took it to Chris, my buddy Chris. I said, make this from aluminum. And then he did. And then we got it powder coated. And people see it and they're like, damn, that's a pretty cool product. How'd you get that done? And I'm like, I don't know how. I have no skills.
That's hilarious.
Not me.
CAD.
It's me just assuming my friends will give up their weekend to help me with my dumb bullshit, and they will. It's way too nice.
Yeah, I am counting on the graces of a friend who has a garage and tools to get this whole project done too, which is where the bike currently sits, which is why I kind of want to fucking get the show on the road, which is why the fork seals blowing on the KLR really sucks because now I've got two projects. KLR,
if you ride it around a little bit, it'll leak enough oil out that it won't be a problem anymore, and you just don't think about it.
I suppose you're right.
I say that joking, but that's honestly a solution that there's probably more than half of the KLRs on the road right now are running that solution, and they're fine.
I think one of the forks still has oil in it. I think.
Yeah, one of them, both of them. Fuck it, whatever. It'll work itself out. It's fine.
It's only leaking from one side right now.
Yeah. So. Does that bike have some superior suspension to begin with? Nah.
Well, mine does. Mine has supposedly upgraded bullshit in it, and I believe it because the guy I bought it from was like fucking fat.
KLR suspension. I mean, it's still.
Well, you can tell the rear shock is like definitely nicer than whatever the one that would have come with is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I assume the insides of the forks are the same. That's what the dude said. And I never bottomed it out, like not once. So that's the thing. I think it's just the plastic's old on it.
Hey, you're a little guy though. Let me take it out. I'll bottom the suspension out.
Say, I mean, Honda doesn't look like a little guy to me. He looks like a grown up. But, you know.
I'm a full size boy.
Yeah, I mean, I am too.
I'm about 225, 230 right now.
So I think you're taller than me, right? How tall are you?
I'm exactly 6 foot.
Well, there
Unless
you
measure me, in which case I'm 5'11"3/4, but that's fucking 6 foot.
We're the exact same height.
Oh, really?
How's my special go?
But it's fun though because when you're actually wearing your shoes and you stand next to something, you are 6 foot. So
that's always got me though. Like you go to the doctor and they measure you and they're like, "Oh, 5'11"3/4." Like, fuck you, nurse.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go back to school.
I had when I was like I think 17 or 18, my driver's license said I was 6'1". That's what I was on when I went there. I stood on the thing. Yes, it's not like to take the shoes off, but I stood there. And this is also before I had slip discs in my back. I think I legitimately was pushing a little over 6 foot, like maybe 6.5. Then my back got fucked up.
Where's my lighter? I need to burn stuff.
So what is I'll ask you these questions, Jake, because you weren't here. What is the oldest bike you would consider buying and fixing up?
Buying or given for free? Because I have an 83 GS in my garage right now, a Suzuki GS 450. It's kind of a neat bike, 450 twin.
Well, I have a feeling your answer is going to be different because your ability to work on a bike is significantly more than anyone else here.
I still hate when you get to a bike. Like, honestly, anything getting over like 20 years old, if it's still a model that's being produced, like a D or Z or a KLR for that matter, even, you got the old first gen, it's still the same bike. So if it's still a bike being produced, I'm not as worried about it. But if it's a bike that's been out of production for like 15, 20 years, I'm going to want to go on the interwebs and see, like, what's the availability of parts? What do people on the message boards, forums say, the Reddit, like, is this thing going to be a pain in the ass to get parts for? Or is it, is there a possibility? That's what I would say. Parts are what I'm worried about is what I'm saying.
It also depends on how long it's been sitting for me, too. Like, if it's like a year or two, like, okay, like it's been sitting for a year or two, it's probably, like, the tires are probably still good. Like the brake pads are probably still good. Like you know what I mean? Like there's certain things you just don't have to worry about.
I mean, the biggest thing for me on a bike sitting that I would care about is if the tank is all rusted to hell. Who's building like a house in the background?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, it's I'm peeling something off a build plate.
Okay.
So,
You've identified the problem. Now it's time to do something about it.
Mute your microphone real quick. Yeah. So,
Hey, for the brakes just rumble.
yeah.
Have you ever got an old?
What's that?
Have you ever got an
Anyway,
old bike that still have that little drum brake thing on it, and it's been sitting up for a few years, and the brakes just crumble? You take them apart.
Yeah, I've also had where the brakes are like locked up in there. Like the pads somehow were like pressed against there and like some kind of surface rust built up, even though they're like, the material on the pad you wouldn't. But they get all screwed. And yeah, you go to take the wheel off and you're beating the drum thing with a hammer to get the drum off the back wheel or the front wheel. Yeah, I've definitely seen some of that. But for me, like a bike that's been sitting for a long time is usually like, it depends. Like, it's usually not that big a deal. Like it's like, if the tank is rusted, I'm worried about that. Beyond that, I can rebuild the carbs, clean everything out real good, flush everything. I don't care, but I'm also a mechanic, so I'm just like, it's just something to do.
I mean,
I'd actually like to have an old Mako just because we used to have a 1980 Mako. I think that one was a 750. I was younger. But it's kind of like one of them things of like, your family had it. That's the first bike that I actually really rode on. And of course, I'm sitting on the tank. I'm a kid. We're going through the woods, and I've got a mouthful of gnats and stuff. Scared out of my mind. But I would, if I found one of those again, I imagine it's insane to get parts for it. But just because of that nostalgia thing, I would love to have one.
You're buying parts from probably parted bikes. Like that's how you're going to get parts. It's going to be from what's left over from the fleet. Yeah. Mako made some cool stuff. They had a giant 2-strokes, like 700 something cc 2-strokes they sold. It sounded absolutely terrifying.
Yeah,
700 cc 2-stroke. That's insane, dude.
Yeah. You look them up.
Because that's like, okay, like for the people who don't know, like when you're running a 2-stroke, it's almost like it's not exactly double the power, but for every fucking 4-stroke of a fucking regular motor, it's doing twice as much fucking burning of gas. So it's almost twice.
To give you an idea, like back in the day, the big 2-strokes were like there were some 500s back in the day, and they're regarded as like, oh my god, the old 500 2-strokes, those were terrifying, right? Like no one does those anymore. Like you can get 300s now, but they're like not the top end rippy that they used to be. They got a lot of bottom end in them. But yeah, I can't imagine. I've only even briefly ridden a 500 2-stroke. I couldn't even get near the power band. The thing was just standing up. It was unrideable. But they had a 700 2-stroke. Like that's such an FU move, and I like it when companies do FU moves in the motorcycle world. Like in the car world, to give you like an example, like how like Dodge will just be like, we just put 1,000 horsepower in the Charger. I don't know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of level where you're like, what are you doing? It's a solid axle car. It's heavy. It's out of dated. They're like, nah, it'll be fine.
The scary bikes to me are like those early 2000 like liter bikes before they had ABS, where it was like, you have all of the power and the only control that you really have is you. You are the control. And like if you can get used to that kind of power and ride a bike like that, you have to be an expert to ride that.
I mean, I
with the new ones, you just grab a whole fistful of front brake and it just stops. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, it's honestly it's good, but it is funny. I mean, I had an 05 R1 and it was like that. Dewey posted the greatest meme though the other day. It was that guy from it was the shooters. It was one of the shooters from the Olympics with all the things on their eyes, and all the stuff. It was like it was like something like BMW S1000RR, and then it shows the guy from Turkey, and it's like, and he put it as like 2005 because I think that's what he has, like 2005 Gixxer 1000. It's like no aids, just straight doing it. That dude got a silver.
Yeah,
my wife didn't know about that guy. I just had to show her. It was mine. I was like, look at this, isn't this crazy?
My Kawasaki's were 2-stroke. They were 750s. They were triple, but
Is that the
That had a 73 and a 76.
The KZ 750. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
they were.
the old H2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Outside.
H2,
yeah.
but that was a two-stroke 750, wasn't it?
It was a
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
3-cylinder 752 stroke.
And that was like having two different bikes because when it was under like 3,000 RPMs, it wasn't that bad. But when you got above 3,000 RPMs, it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And that bike just completely changed personalities.
That's fun.
Should I go through all the trouble of making the FZ6 faster?
No. Just enjoy
Turbo
it.
it.
Just leave it. Just leave it the fuck alone about it.
Supercharge it.
Do it.
Well, because there's a mid-pipe thing, and I could do some slip-ons and fucking do something with the airbox, and then I'd have to get an ECU tune by the time I'm done with it.
Like, and it's like on these motorcycles, these inline fours, they're even more sensitive. I remember my first bike was an R6. That's a great first bike. Everyone buy an R6 for your first bike.
Same motor, by the way.
But yeah, it had like an exhaust on it without any. Those were carbureted. It was no one, and I literally put a Canadian air filter on it, and that was too much. Like then the bike literally ran horribly. It had like no power. It bogged out, and it was before I knew what I was doing, so I had to pay someone to fix it. It was before I went to school and learned it. So I was just like, I don't know. There's carburetors. What is a carburetor? So pay someone a lot of money to rejet and tune the whole thing, and
Like
then
honestly,
I was like, that's to that. I'm going to go to school.
I don't mind dealing with like one carburetor, with like sets of tubes going to one carburetor and to the gas tank and the thing, you know what I mean? Like it makes sense kind of, and if it doesn't, you can fucking play around with it and figure it out. But you start getting like, oh, well, there's 4 cylinders, so we need 4 carburetors, and that means 4 sets of hoses and intakes need to line up, and then you got to like take them apart and clean them and put them back together, and you get it all together.
Look,
you throw it on the bike, you put gas in there, and then there's like one of them that's leaking, so you got to take it all apart again. Like, fuck, dude.
No, if you know how to do one, you should be fine. Do it. Just the same thing over and over again.
This is when you do it. I'm talking about me here.
I didn't. I actually had someone today asking me if they wanted, like, they were going to send me a syncing tool. I was like, one, but yeah, you got to sync them. You got to sync them all that.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to make it run good, right?
Mm-hmm. They run so good when you sync them.
Yeah,
so that's like the final thing you do after everything. That's like the last thing you do is you sync them, and the bike will just purr so good when you get it synced up.
No, I like the Suzuki way of having 2 carburetors for one engine, from one cylinder.
Well, yeah, Honda did that too back in the day.
Was that one of them? No.
2 carburetors for one cylinder?
Yeah,
really?
so like it was on some of the bigger engines, I think, like 400, 600, and I forget what the Suzuki did it on, but yeah, because you have 2 intake valves, right? So they came up as 2 separate ports instead of combining into one, and they had it's like a high speed carburetor and your low speed carburetor. So you had literally 2 of them.
Wow. Okay.
Those
I mean, I guess it's like a variable valve kind of thing, but not really. No, and not
There's
at all.
a reason the industry did it for a very short time and then quit. Put it like that. But
like the Winkle or whatever, the fucking rotary engine that they kept trying to put in motorcycles and
put it in a few. Yeah, they played with it a little bit, and then I think there's a few other brands that played with them on the bikes. But
have you seen that new Toyota 3-cylinder that they're putting in cars?
Like the one that was in the Yaris?
I think well, I don't know about that, but I know they're putting it in the new Corollas. Like the new Corolla motors, like it's like a 3-cylinder, like 750 cc or something like that. That makes like fucking 150 horsepower, 170 horsepower. Like it's pretty fucking nice.
Isn't someone coming out with a hybrid bike?
Kawasaki did actually already. They're fucking expensive, and I don't see what the point is.
Well, it's going to go like electric and stuff like that, which I kind of have some interest in that, but not to save the environment. It's more the torque and stuff like that. But rather than all this stuff with the batteries and everything and having to charge it just seems like hybrid is such a better option if you're going to do that.
I mean, if you're just like around town and you live like 10 miles from your work and you might stop at the store on the way home or whatever, and then, go home, an electric bike kind of makes sense because, you're not going to put more than 40 miles in a day or something, so like the 60-mile range that they actually have when you're getting on it and actually accelerating and going into high speeds isn't a big deal. But they always sell them where it's like, oh, it's got a 250-mile range. if you're on flat ground and going 25 miles an hour and you never stop, and under the perfect conditions, you can get that many miles. It's like, okay, like I guess if we're ever on the salt flats, we'll fucking test that. But in the meantime, I live in a city, and that's not going to work for me. And then you get the anxiety, like, am I going to get home? Am I not going to get home? What's going to happen with my bike? What happens when the battery gets too low? Like they need to improve the battery technology. I
You
think
have roads that go up and down, and it's that up that would get you.
Well, because even like I forget what the name of it is, but the one that Dan had, the Zero, I think Zero, yeah. They weigh like 600 fucking pounds, dude. They're not fucking light. Those batteries, like that's the problem too. It's like, okay, like it's just got these electric motors or whatever, the electric motor in the back, but the batteries weigh so fucking much, you know. Like it doesn't get lighter when you ride. Like if you have gas in the tank, like it gets lighter as it gets empty. Not those.
Yeah, I want
I
to.
don't know.
And there's another moto vlogger guy named Walter Riffick. He guy's got like 2 million subs, but I don't know if he doesn't post it much or more, whatever. But he has one of the Zeros, and he says he's got 10,000 miles on it. I was just watching a video. It's been in the shop for like 4 or 5 months, and I think they had to replace all the electronics on it, like other than maybe the motor, like the controller, the battery, the dash. Everything is all new on it. I don't know if I'm guessing that's not warranty. But maybe they work something out because he's some YouTuber. I don't know. But I'm like, there's a shop up the road for me that sells Zero. I used to work at that dealership. I know a bunch of the mechanics there. I've asked them about. They said pretty much every Zero they sell comes back with issues. And you're like, dude, that's the electric bike. It should be the one that needs nothing, right? Like, why would it have problems? And it's like they're the most problematic. And when they have problems, like any other manufacturer, like if the engine's messing up and you can't diagnose it and figure it out what's going on with it, you would call like Honda or whoever. And you as the mechanic have a line, someone you can call. They don't really have that at Zero. They're just like, I don't know, throw a new battery pack in it. It's like, well, that's $4,500. You know, it's like, well, I don't know, make the customer pay for it. Like it's insane what they're telling me that like they've had that too. They've had entire bikes they have to just replace. Sounds like Walter's bike. They have to replace all the electronics from one side to the other on it.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't want to buy one. Like, I don't want to buy one from a company. I've got a friend that he built one, and it's pretty cool. And I would love to build my own, but do it like more of a cruiser, you know? And I'd be more interested in doing something like that, where it's like just something you build in your garage, that sort of thing, rather than, buy Harley's version or Kawasaki's version or whatever. It's more like your own project.
You see that guy who rode to Sturgis? I think it was last year or the year before on a live wire, and he had like so many problems along the way getting it charged, and like he tried to make it to the place, and like the fucking chargers don't work with his thing, and then you go to another place and sit outside a fucking gas station for 6 hours waiting for his fucking battery to charge.
I didn't see his, but I have seen numerous, because I keep up with a lot of that stuff. I've watched numerous like travel documentary or travel vlog things where people, and it's the same thing. It's like you're talking about. If you've seen how ridiculous it is, like unless you have like a Tesla, they don't make bikes. So, Tesla, you go to the Tesla station, you just plug the thing in, it works, right? But the rest of them, all these little chargers, they don't work like a gas station. You show up to them and they want you to download an app. And they want you to like verify your account and then put money in this account. And they want to hold your credit card on file and like always keep like $20-$30 in their account. You got to go through all this stuff. And then it still doesn't even work half the time. But you have to like all these pumps. There's like a bazillion different like things. Just like there's a bunch of different gas stations, right? There's a bunch of different, there's all the different gas station chains. There's these charger chains. But instead of them having a credit card machine, you just put a card in or insert cash. They're like, no, you got to get our app and initiate the whole thing. And I've watched so many videos where people are like, oh my God, I have to download another app. They're trying to travel and they're like, they're sitting there for like 20-30 minutes before they even start to charge just to initiate the pump or the charger. It's like, dude, this is not the way to do it. Yeah, if you're going to sell people on this is not the way to do it. You need to be able to go up, put your card in, stick cash in it, whatever, and go. But it doesn't work the way. And it's not any cheaper than the gas at this point. They've really screwed that up. It was supposed to be cheaper. It's not. Just the same as buying fuel.
Well, I mean, if you think about it too, like think about how much electricity, like power, is lost over a power line from the place that they produce it to the place that it's used. it's 70%, 90% of the power is lost in transmission, and they don't even talk about that.
It's
right?
really that much?
Yeah, no, it really, like, if it's those really long distance fucking high voltage power lines, they can lose up to 90%. So they're producing a fuck ton, which is like that, a fuck ton of emissions, right? I mean, it, like, their means of producing it is usually cleaner than your motor would be. But then when you consider, like, okay, now the battery has to take the power too, so there's some power loss there. And now the battery has to transmit it to the motors, so there's some power loss there, right? Every step along the way, there's like mechanical fucking loss or whatever, like heat loss. It's just entropy. It's the way it works. So versus how much do you lose from a gas powered motor? I mean, it's like, I think if you actually look at the thermal dynamics of it, it's like only 40% or something like that of the gasoline is actually used for propulsion. The rest is like burnt in heat and, you know, like lost in other ways that, like, theoretically could be used as energy or whatever.
I think
but
it's
it's
closer
just not
to a quarter, but yeah, like we
Right.
do lose, like we're only really getting about a quarter. I still heard that, like, even with all that electric is like somehow still more efficient. I mean, there's a reason like those big diesel electric trains are just literally a big diesel engine, and it's not even going through a normal transmission. It's going through, you know, like an electric drive train. It's kind of nuts, but it's not as great as it's, you know, advertised though. I don't know. We need magic batteries, and we need backyard nuclear power plants, and then we'll be fine.
What? Yeah, they're called
What is-
capacitors.
With the trains,
What is the code
thing
here?
is, like, the amount of torque you can get down low with the electric engines to pull that much weight, to get that much weight started. It's such a big advantage over trying to
Yeah.
use
it's
some
crazy
kind
that
of clutch or something on a diesel engine.
Some of the like when they first came out with like diesel locomotives in like the 50s or something, they were like direct drive, like your pickup truck.
Has anybody ever played the game Derail Valley?
Can't say that I have.
It's a train simulator, and they added
Sounds autistic.
100%. That's why I love it.
I love trains.
Yeah. They added a diesel, the mechanical locomotive. So it's got like a 9-speed transmission or something, and it trying to shift that thing in the game is horrible.
Man, I was really hoping Never Enough Ammo would show up, because his son literally just bought a
Train
300L.
I like the train answer better.
I mean, we can go back to trains if you want, but
Oh man, I don't know why that cracked me up so much. I almost spit some. This is some of Dewey's stuff. This is wine. This has not been good to spit out of my mouth.
you talked me into it. Now I gotta go get some of my stuff.
Lots and lots of trains.
I remember reading a story about some dude laid down like 10 feet of train track in his backyard, and then was able to get himself licensed as like a train officer, like a train security guard. So he ran around with basically in a cop looking car, and like he could buy like cop equipment and stuff too.
Dude, that's like that guy out of Florida that was like, do you all remember the dude a year or two ago that was like, he kept showing up in the news where he was running like a funeral escort business out of Florida. He kept getting
the like wannabe cop, like the not a cop guy. Yeah, I remember him.
Oh man,
he had like 17 tickets for being because he would just get in people's faces and
he was such a piece of shit. He had a bunch of stolen valor stuff too. He would try to claim he like served in the military. It was like he literally didn't at all. Like,
man, Florida just like whenever like everyone's like, oh, we had some crazy shit happen. Oh yeah, did you hear what happened in Florida? And we were talking about the alligators and lakes and shit. Like in Florida, if you're, I've heard this. I don't know. I'm not like a Florida teenager, but if you're a Florida teenager and you're going to Florida public school, there's a whole class that they teach you about like walking around water and like the different animals that you can find and the things that can kill you, because it's fucking Florida. It's like the fucking Australia of America.
Makes sense.
It's a little scary down there. Just a little bit. You know, little cocaine, little fucking alligators and crocodiles and fucking other weird lizards and shit. Have you ever been to Florida? I've been to Florida.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't actually scary when I was there. Although when we were at Disney World, there was an alligator that got into the like the pond where the like fucking boats go slowly and kids are in it. Everyone freaked out.
Everyone freaks out except for the locals.
Yep.
They're like, yeah, the line's shorter.
Yeah. I remember when it flooded here in Houston like really badly, allegedly, and I didn't look it up, but allegedly one of the aquariums like lost its shark or something.
So I have a question for you guys that I would like you to answer
Like
for
it
me.
swam away, but what's your question?
If you could buy, like, money is not an option. You can just have it, right? What bike would you pick? You just get to have a bike, whatever bike you want, whatever brand it is, whatever year. Doesn't matter if it's new or used. What bike would you pick?
Oh, I don't even know what it's called anymore.
That's a tough question. I know.
It was some bougie bike that had like air intake sticking up from the fuel tank.
Oh, what is that with the fucking 2-wheel drive bike that they take through the fucking rainforest and shit? That one?
No. It was like a sport bike.
Yo.
And it had like the intake, like a blower style, intake.
Yeah, I don't
sticking
know.
out of the top of the fuel tank. It was some fancy like $80,000 sport bike.
Was it made by fucking Neo?
I don't know.
You know, the guy from the Matrix. What's his name? He's got his own bikes. You guys know that, right? He's got his own fucking motorcycles that cost like $50,000 a bike.
Yeah, ARC. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They're pretty cool looking. But yeah, I don't know how many of them they produce or whatever.
Did you know that high voltage transmission lines are more efficient because they minimize power loss as electricity travels long distances?
Oh, you've been researching this the whole
High
time?
voltage transmission lines typically have a loss around 2%, while low voltage
Oh.
distribution lines have a loss of around 4%. Someone's sending me this stuff. Someone's hearing me.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, I knew that.
I was misinformed then. I thought they had tremendous power. Because the other thing is the transformers that they have to go through. When they step up from low voltage to high voltage, there's a certain percentage that gets lost there too.
And then they go from cars to robots again.
Robots in disguise. So what's your bike, Jake?
I just go for a really expensive one. I don't like I'm not going for some vintage-ish. I don't really care. I'll get like a BMW GS 1300 thing. I just rode one of those. They're great, super nice to ride. It's not like my favorite bike. Like you're like, you can have any bike you want. Like, I just get the most expensive one. Like,
And then
you
sell
just sell
it.
it. It's like a $30,000 motorcycle.
Yeah.
I
I guess in that case, you just go for like a Harley Evo Road King fucking whatever.
Oh yeah, those are dumb expensive too. But the BMW is actually really nice to ride. I've ridden one. It's like
Right.
I remember being mad. I was riding it at this thing in Spain, which sounds like I'm flexing saying that, but I was there and I love this BMW, and I was like, this is gonna be dumb. I get ready, and I'm like, why is it so good? Why is this bike so nice to ride? I probably would just keep it. Honestly, it was that nice. I don't think I would sell it. I'd just keep it forever.
I've actually never rode a BMW. Never had the pleasure.
Every time I've ridden one, like they stand out from the other European brands where they're exotic, but they're like finicky. It's like the BMW's just like, well, it's German, you know? It's just like, God, this thing is made well. It has a little less passion than some of the other European brands, but it's so well made.
Don't they have
really
like a single cylinder 650 thumper too?
You did back a few years ago.
Yeah, because they had one for sale that was right near me, and I kept driving by it on my KLR. Like,
yeah, that was. I
like the
think
same
that
fucking
came
bike.
out during the time that they owned Husqvarna. So I kind of wonder if like maybe there was some engineering work between the two of them to build that.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know.
Tara, what would you pick?
I don't really know. I almost want to say like a Euro kind of thing, but that's more of a three-wheeler technically. You know,
Those
our
are expensive
BMW, they
too.
still made that, like their version.
They still make Urals, don't they? Those are still coming out.
Yeah, they're basically a copy of the BMW.
Well, can we import them? They're from Russia. I think
Oh,
something
is that the deal?
I think something might have gotten messed up with those when like ammo got messed up. I could be wrong, but I think I remember hearing something goofy about that.
I would want it. I mean, you know, with the third wheel actually having drive to it, do the Urals have that like the BMW did?
I don't think the third.
The Euro has their back wheel. I think
the back two wheels.
The back two wheels are powered. Yeah, right.
Oh wow.
They're originally German, and I believe the way they ended up Russian was that factory was in the Russian side of Germany after the war.
So they just kept making them.
Yeah, and then whenever the
that's what
occupation ended, they moved all the machinery, all the machinery back up to Russia, and they just kept making them. I believe. I'm no expert.
Like the East German Makarobs. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know if BMW still made, because they were the original ones who made that, but they had like an actual like mortar cycle with, you know, it was a mortar on the side or a guy with a machine gun on the side of it.
Yeah, on the Urals, so the front on the sidecar, there's a mount in the front there it's a machine gun mount. They started putting a headlight in there because, like, I think DOT was like, "Why are you selling a vehicle?" So they put a headlight in it, but apparently you can just pop. Like, you can move it around. The passenger can move it. But apparently, you can just pop the headlight out. And it's still a machine gun.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Okay,
Talk about an
is that the same bike that Indy was using in Indiana Jones when he was going with his father and they were running away from the Nazis?
As much as I love Indiana Jones, that's the one. That's what the whatever one. That's the one I've seen the least.
Is that the BMW one?
I mean, the worst ones are the last two. I don't even acknowledge the last one.
Well, dude, the last one was.
But the Last Crusade, I that one is still fun, but let's be honest, it fell off by then. It's all about the first two.
I disagree. I like Last Crusade.
No, Last Crusade. I do love Last Crusade. It is good, but it's come on, man. Temple of Doom and what's it called? The Ark. Dude, those
Raiders
are
of the
so
Lost
good.
Ark.
They're so good. They're like on another level. Like here's what it is. It's a little phoned in. I think it's just a little bit when you watch the Last Crusade. It's still really good, but a little phoned in. That's how.
But okay, it's not like Star Wars where you like watch like episode 1, 2, and 3, and then you watch episode 4. You're like, what the fuck, you know? It's like it's made in a completely different era and with different technology, and you know, like it looks completely different, and the actors are all different.
Well, I mean, I do think a little bit though that does happen in Last Crusade. If you watch Last Crusade when it was made, I mean, it was far enough later that it does kind of stand out a little bit. But of course, you get to Crystal Skull. It's just a terrible story,
right? Well, Crystal Skull is more like when it jumps to a whole different era, and it's.
I have not even watched the last movie. I'm not going to. They said it was so bad. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I just live in what I live in the good time of it.
There's so many movies like that these days, though, where it's like, oh, the old one was so good, and let's watch the new. Oh my god, abortion.
Getting that way with like all the Star Wars. It's like,
almost all. I mean,
hey, Honda.
What's up?
Look up motorcycle, like literally a mortar and a motorcycle. That's the BMW we're talking about, but instead of the machine gun, it has a mortar mounted to it.
I found the bike. It's a walk-in 1640.
Roy would have a feeling.
I don't know what I just found, but it's not a motorcycle. Oh my gosh, I got to share this. Hold on, I'll find what you want too, but hold on.
What's the bike he used in the Great Escape?
No, not that one.
Is it a Triumph?
Yeah, that's a Triumph in the Great Escape. I think that's the one that was also the Fonz Road.
What is this thing?
Down, don't click on it.
It's only $1,300. Get it.
A $1,300 Motor unicycle. What do you
Probably
call
cost
that?
you twice as much as shit.
People have videos on things like that where it's like the one wheel and they're like in a suit, like they're on a crotch rocket or something,
Yeah,
but they're on just like one.
No, that's no. You know what it's from? It's from the Lorax.
Yep, I was trying to think of that fucking movie. Thank you.
Well, I watched it with my kids. Like I think 2 days ago, we watched the Lorax.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we're looking for mortar. Morter.
While you're looking that up, let me tell you a funny story about a Ural. So this guy showed up at one of our rides one time on a Ural. It was a big motor vlogger meet, and he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty fun. I just got it. It's a little tricky to drive. It kind of gotta be careful in the turns." We're like, "All right, be careful." And like 15 minutes into the ride, he had flipped it off the road into a creek. Like,
was it that guy who was giving everybody fucking? It was that.
It's not the guy in my videos. It does. It's that guy. Okay. No, that guy's skilled. Like that guy. That's why. The only reason I even hopped in that thing with him and let him put it on the sidecar in the air is because I've been on. He's got a supermoto. I think he's got a DR 650 supermoto. Like I can ride. Like he's
the only motorcycle I can find is from fucking Wolfenstein. But here you go.
What about the one from?
Have you turned search safety off?
What about the metal one? Correctly? Like the death clock one? That's a pretty cool motorcycle.
You might have to put BMW in there.
BMW.
Can you just like paste the link that you're looking at?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm on my phone.
Here's this thing. This is pretty cool. This looks like some shit from Tron.
This looks like something that you go to put your legs down. You're like, oh wait, I forgot about that part. And your legs are just gone.
It's still got the boxer motor though. Look, it's still got the boxer.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll tell you what. I'll be right back. Because I'm on my phone. I'll look it up real quick and I'll send it to you on the Discord.
Oh, it's really not a big deal.
Now let's get the death clock bike and we can all ride together. Does that hold 5 people?
The what bike? Death clock?
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
Oh man.
Do you not know?
You don't know what?
Do you not know about death clock?
It's clock with a K. Just put motorcycle instead, and I think clock is spelled different than that too when they do it. I know it's with a K, but
doesn't clock always have a K?
It's because it thinks you're doing it wrong. It's like, no, you're mean that's right.
Well, if I spell it clock, then it goes right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Look at that thing.
This one?
That's 5 people. Yeah, it holds 5 people, man. I think it's pretty dope.
Oh, there you go.
Cars. You know nothing about that show.
Now that you mention it, I have seen it, like clips of it, but no, I haven't watched it before.
It's worth your time. It's pretty good.
I know, like
pretty damn funny.
Going around where they're like, "What's the most metal birthday present?" Nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
That was hilarious.
In the world of that show, they're the most famous people in the world. Like hilariously famous. It's just a good show. Yeah, check it out. It was an Adult Swim show.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, we've been going for over fucking 2 hours, which is more than I was expecting to talk about motorcycles tonight, but I enjoyed it, and maybe we could do this again sometime. I don't know if it's a regular thing or just a one-off thing. I was really hoping fucking Matt would be here because he just got a fucking 300L, which we're sitting in the room with the 300L expert who's done more to 300Ls than anybody I've ever seen before. But yeah, I was hoping you would tell us what your next bike was going to be, but you didn't let that out, did you?
I have no idea.
You still don't know?
The winds of time shall reveal.
No, you said a KTM.
Oh, Tucson. Sure, why not?
I mean, if you want to have,
it'd be funny just because I hate them so much, but I also respect how good they are because they are nice.
It would give you plenty of content working on it. That's for sure.
Is this gonna work?
I sent it to you.
Oh, okay. Before we go, then we'll do that. And here we are, born to be kings. Oh, Mad Maxie would have been here if he'd fucking seen it, you bastard.
Jake, you got it. Oh, Jake, you got to do the thing where you like get a bike, like dyno it, and then WPC all their internals and then re-dyno it.
Where
Dude,
did you
I
send it
literally
to me at?
like pay them for service work, and they were a-holes. So,
Tara, where did you send this to me?
Maybe that's
Discord
Where?
messages.
Oh, there we
Right
go.
below the
Right.
screen.
No, I got it. Right here, the mortar cycle.
Oh my
motorcycle.
gosh.
Death from
What does it
below.
do? Oh,
You
it's
drive around in a motorcycle and you shoot people with your mortars. Right?
or you drive around and you do mad metal detecting.
Baker X Derek would be fucking impressed.
Drive around Denver with that.
I bet Dragon Man would be cool with that.
Did YouTube stop recommending this shit, or did he
Oh,
stop
yeah.
posting shit?
That's right
All
up
right.
his alley too.
Well, on that note, everybody, we love your faces. We hope you have a good night. Stay on two wheels and keep armed and do all the things that you like to do and be cool to people. And we love you. Good night.